And then all of a sudden it went from a generational Jude Bellingham into Alexis McAllister. And now it's a cheaper Alexis McAllister, maybe a cheaper Manu Kone, and probably a cheaper alternative in the third place midfielder as well. And I'm just getting a bit fed up of it. This video is being brought to you with thanks to Surfshark. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to browse websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Surfshark allows you to virtually travel the world with just the tap of a finger. As an example, we here in Ireland can What is Afflix? We here in Ireland can watch other countries' Netflix libraries, unlock UK services such as BBC iPlayer, and of course that all important Spanish DAZN account for football. Surfshark keeps you safe and secure by covering up everything that you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all this information is, in a way, blurred out. This is particularly effective when you're out and about on public Wi-Fi, maybe you're in college or at a cafe. It keeps your information safe and secure from hackers. With a Surfshark, just ask Surfshark. Just here, have a Surfshark. Johnny? Mildred, Surfsharks? Surfshark allow you to use unlimited devices on just one subscription, meaning if you so wish, you can grant access to your friends and family. On top of that, Surfshark offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, they refund you. It is that simple. Simply scan the QR code on your screen right now, or use the link in the description, putting in the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. So you're wondering what the fuck I'm on about, right? With the title of tonight's video. Are the owners being cheap again? And what I mean is, so let's look at Alexis McAllister as a signing, right? We all agree he's a brilliant signing. But I wonder, would we have been in for Alexis if the price had have been about 65 or 70 million pound? And why aren't we in for both those Brighton midfielders? Because they're both certainly good enough. They're both certainly available. And again, I'm just wondering, are we being cheapskates? Are we still acting like a small club? I want to say that we are, and I don't want to say it from the point of view of like I'm ruling out the season or I'm going to be unhappy with the window. I think we're going to be all right in the window. I think we're going to do the business that we need to do. But I still feel like we're going to be left wanting a little bit. And we're going to be having a surplus, or a spend, I should say, excuse me, of a lot less than we initially expected. And I also want to speak a little bit about Thiago Alcantara during tonight's video. And I'm not here to rant and rave at the owners, but let me just give you an example of what pisses me off about the modern day. And it's a headline from The Echo. And again, I've got no beef with The Echo as a whole. I've got no beef with any of the journalists. I don't know any of them. But you know what I do know? I do know that when I see a headline that says Alexis McAllister is about to prove FSG and John W. Henry right with Liverpool transfer, without even reading that article, I have read it by the way, but without even reading it, I know what the story is going to be about. It's going to be another puff piece where they blow smoke up John W. Henry and FSG's asshole, and it's no surprise to me that, oh, you got your exclusive and now you're blowing smoke up John's ass. How about doing some actual journalism? How about asking and posing some real questions about Liverpool transfer business and Liverpool's availability of funds? I'm getting a pain in my ass with it, because nobody that I have seen that has any type of a platform is willing to actually demand the best, willing to demand their owners be accountable, and willing to demand that we're back challenging. We've got the manager. We've got the makings of a very good squad. But this was the summer. This was it. This was the one we were absolutely needing to be perfect. No expense was going to be spared. No stone was going to be left unturned. And then all of a sudden it went from a generational Jude Bellingham into Alexis McAllister. And now it's a cheaper Alexis McAllister, maybe a cheaper Manu Kone, and probably a cheaper alternative in the third place midfielder as well. And I'm just getting a bit fed up of it. I'm getting a little bit fed up of it. So again, I want you guys to let me know. Am I just moaning too much? Are you starting to get a bit nervy about the window? Because all in all, I feel like we're going to have a net spend in this window of about 120. That's how I feel. And 120 is not good enough. When you see your competitors out there willing to spend that on one midfielder, and we're supposed to be able to challenge with them, I don't see how it's possible. There's only so many miracles Jurgen Klopp and the recruitment team can pull out of their backside. There's only so many unearthed, unhidden gems that need to be found. Sometimes you just got to do the right thing and buy your Alissons, buy your Virgil van Dijks. But we know why we bought them. We had the Felipe Coutinho money. So I'm starting to get a bit nervous, because the business that other clubs are going to do in this window looks like, once again, it'll make us look like cheapskates. So am I right to be concerned? Am I moaning too much? I want to know your thoughts. Lan said, nope, window will be good. Does cheap matter if they're good players? No, it doesn't. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I do. And I understand as well that you can get some cheap good players, but when do we not do that is my question. Like, when do we go out there and actually just sign the player? I don't always want us to be the club that is clever or is the smartest people in the room. I want us sometimes to just go out there and make a fucking statement and go, bang, we're here to do business. Bang, we want this player. Sorry, that's just how I feel. 120 million net to FSG is like 120 billion net to other owners, said David. I think we should wait till the window's over. No, fucking no. I've made that mistake in too many windows, buddy. And again, fish number 12, this is not aimed at you. What I've done this, I've wore that t-shirt. I've had this conversation for 5, 6, 7 years now in transfer windows where I've done exactly what you've suggested. I've hung off and I've waited. And ultimately, I've ended up being frustrated. I've ended up being disappointed in the window. I'm not willing to do it this summer. Yeah, I'm definitely not hanging off, mate, till the end of the window. Alexis McAllister, what do we know about the latest on him? Well, his father, Carlos, is over in the UK, and it looks like this deal is going to be done really soon. And on the face of it, it is brilliant that it's going to be less money than we thought. There is no real downside to that. Liverpool getting him for about 45 or 50 million, according to some reports, is great business, but my question is, if he had have been 70, do you think we would still be in for him? And also, I think to judge a window, you have to wait maybe even a year plus before you can wait for criticism. Okay, grand. So let's run with the last window. I waited for a midfielder, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And what happened? We ended up with Arthur Melo. That's what happened. And we ended up being told that for all of our moaning all summer about a window with no midfielder, we were wrong. And then eventually it was, oh no, actually you're right, we do need a midfielder. So we've gone out there and brought in Arthur Melo on a £4 million loan, and he played 13 minutes. So how did that work out? So Lance said, I don't see the fascination with Caicedo. I've watched him plenty. He isn't superior by any means. Superior to who? He's superior to Lavia. I can fucking promise you that much. And we're being linked to Lavia. So we clearly want a player in that position. And look at the players we're being linked with. Kone, 30 million, 35 million euro. Thuram, 40 million, 50 million euro max. Gravenberch, 25, 30 million pound. There's nobody in there, top end. Excited for McAllister and Kone. We need Fabinho to gain some actual competition as the Southampton performance exposed his decline. So I don't know where we're at with Kone. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't sit here and say he's going to be a Liverpool player. But the interest certainly looks real. And according to some people in Germany, I think Christian Falk, they said that once Liverpool decided that we weren't going in for Jude Bellingham, that we turned to Kone. Unsure. Disagree to that. I think Caicedo will be perfect for us. I like McAllister. I know it'll be cheaper, but I'd rather have Caicedo for 100 than McAllister for 70. Why can't we have both, though? That's my question. And my question is, like, I'm almost answering my own question. Like, I know why we can't have both. What happened with Thuram? Nothing that I'm aware of yet, Emma. I guess the latest on Thuram will be that it's going to look like Liverpool PSG battle maybe for Thuram. Ugarte looks like he's Chelsea bound. PSG needs somebody in that position. The last I read yesterday on Thuram was that his father and his representatives were trying to urge him towards Liverpool. And yeah. And look, I'm not for 1 minute saying that Thuram, Kone and McAllister may not potentially be a good midfield, may not potentially be very good recruitment. But it's not a guarantee. And that's my point. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not willing to write off another season while we maybe wait to see how things settle and people fit in. We need to go out there and be ruthless. And we need to just get the right players and right players who can hit the ground running. So Mason Mount, remember? He was top of the priority list. One of the ones that we wanted. Had to get homegrown players. Well, he's gone to United, or going to United. So I'm kind of happy we missed out on him. But at the same time, not surprised because, well, he's probably going to cost upwards of 50, 55, 60 million pound. Craig, do you trust Klopp or not? If Klopp wants Kone and Thuram, we get Kone and Thuram. No, I don't fully trust them, mate. Because This is the same manager that said to me last summer, and you last summer, and everybody else last summer, that we didn't need a midfielder. Same manager that looked us down the camera and told us the only problem with Jude Bellingham was that he wasn't available. Same manager that looked down the camera lens and told us that we couldn't improve on the qualities of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita and other players at the football club. So, no, I'm not willing to once again just go, well, these are great. Now, I do want Klopp to get his targets. Don't get me wrong. But I also want Klopp to be able to go out there and shop like a big manager and look for players outside of a certain bracket and not be operating with his hand tied behind his back. So, again, rather than just having a sly dig at me and saying, do you trust Klopp or not? I'm never going to trust any fucking human being implicitly without questioning or without giving it my take on it, mate. So, yes, I trust Klopp as a manager, but ultimately, you know, I've seen a season go by where we've all had to look at a frustrating time where you paid your BT subscription, your Sky subscription, for your shirts, your season tickets, you went to games. The club can write off a season. I can't, you can't, fans can't. I'm not just moaning for the sake of it. I'm moaning out of fear. Because the big window is starting to look like another bargain basement window. I think Klopp said what he said due to FSG. Potentially. And look, I understand that the manager has to get on with the board and stuff as well, but I don't know. Klopp prides himself on creating his own talent rather than taking them from other clubs. So Klopp prides himself as improving players as a coach, definitely. And he's very good at it. When he had the ability to go out and buy Alisson and Van Dijk, what did he do? He went out and bought Alisson and Van Dijk. No crumbs about spending 70 and 75 million there. Only difference was he had Coutinho money. So the board were allowing him to go and spend it. Do you get where I'm coming from yet? So you can all sit here and say to me that I'm a fucking lunatic and that this is what Klopp wants. Ultimately, I think everybody wants a bit more. I think any manager would want to maybe look at a certain bracket of player if possible, on top of course, unearthed gems. So it's not a blanket statement to just go, no, Klopp sits at home and he fucking loves this. John's ringing him up going, Klopp, can you have another 50 mil, lad? And Jurgen's like, no, John, I don't need it. Sure, I'm only in the bargain basement window because that's what I love, John. That's how I operate. I don't believe that for 1 second. Who pays Klopp's paycheck? Not the fans. Wants to keep the owners happy, doesn't care about the fans. I would never label that at our manager, mate. Nah. Of all the managers we've had at the football club, outside of King Kenny, who is just part of the football club, I think Klopp and Benitez do care about the fans. I really, really do. And the community. Yeah, so I definitely would never label that a Jurgen Klopp. But he makes mistakes. And sometimes he says stuff that I find baffling. But again, we don't have to like every single thing about every single person. Klopp's digs have been annoying me, not gonna lie. It's a really difficult subject because I idolise Jurgen Klopp. Really, really do. But he's not infallible. He says stuff that we disagree with. And he has been very bitter this season. I don't know what other way to say it, but he has. He's been very snidey this season with journalists, with his responses to some questions. And that's probably because for the first time in his tenure as Liverpool manager, there were some questions. There were some unhappy people. And there was some frustration at what we were hearing back not matching what we were actually seeing on the pitch. And we can't ignore that. Like, just because we love Klopp doesn't mean he gets to say stupid shit and we don't challenge him on it. But equally, if we do challenge him on it, it doesn't mean that we care about the man or regard him any less. It's just, again, challenge everything. And Klopp has to keep the peace. Klopp has to be the person that, you know, keeps the owners happy, keeps the players happy, and hopefully keeps the fans happy. And I've no problem with our manager moaning about certain things. Telling people not to be leaving the stadium early, I have no problem with Jurgen Klopp calling people out on that one. But for the first time this year, feels like he was a bit snidey at times. A bit sharp, a little bit frustrated. My one fear is that we have a Wenger situation with Klopp. On Klopp, and I haven't forgotten about Thiago, I'm going to come back to that. On Klopp, all right, I'm glad that he's extended. I'm glad that we're going to see him build his second team. But before people maybe correctly call me out for being too moany. I mean, I'm open to the fact that maybe I am a bit too idealistic, but think back to what I've always said, and I've been consistent. I've said to you guys for 3 or 4 years that my biggest fear is that I look back in years to come on Jurgen Klopp's tenure at our football club and I feel like we had a missed opportunity. I feel like we didn't fully capitalise on having a generational manager, a leader, a real person at the very top of his craft. And I still don't feel like we've left every stone unturned for Jurgen. And he is now going through a very difficult situation where it's a rebuild. Part of the rebuild has been done, particularly with the attack, but it's a rebuild and Klopp has to try and build his second great Liverpool team. And that's difficult. That's something that I don't remember a manager in my lifetime getting to do at Liverpool Football Club. So I'm a bit nervous about it because I want it to be right. I want him to be supported. And I want to look back and go, well, those were the years, wasn't it? My God, we did everything we could possibly do. And we challenged on every front that we possibly could. I don't want to be sitting here going, Klopp had a really good start to his Liverpool career. He gave us the Holy Grail. He won a European Cup. And then 5 years later, we're sitting here wondering how there's no more silverware, wondering how clubs have surpassed us, wondering how we are no longer challenging for titles. I don't want that to happen again, and I don't want that to happen for you guys again either. So that's why we need to be a bit more pushy.